smooth might make your head blow off.
Hey, yo, it's a talk show host, Kaynah Lassiter. Join me for an episode of Relations, the most lit hour of adult conversation.
Hold up, you know you can't forget about me. It's 51 Spades, alpha male G-O-D, one half of Relations. You wanna hear the truth? Can you handle the truth? It's where it's at, baby. It's where it's at, baby.
What's good? Welcome to an all-new episode of Relations. My name is Kaynah Lassiter.
Say it with me now. Alpha male G-O-D, 51 Spade, a.k.a. the ninja you love to hate. I'm in the building.
You know how we do it. We get two exciting topics in 1 hour. Our two topics tonight is rejected sex in marriage or relationships, and why is it so hard to be good and easy to be bad? Let's start out with hard to be good, easy to be bad. Vague statement, great topic. For two podcasters, we watch other podcasts. We talk to people in relationships. And what we're getting feedback on is it's very hard to convince a person to do the right thing, to get on their act right. But it's easy for that person to do bad things and then expect that it's acceptable. So I think the most popular example, which we won't focus on the entire time because I know women are sick of it, because we're on you a lot and hold you accountable a lot, but we're going to start with the mad black woman. Karen's too. Y'all are in there. But
why don't you just say women?
Well, women in general, right? The bad attitudes. But you know what? To me, where the topic came from specifically was it happened to be a black girl. And when she was talking, she was asking for advice. But even in her delivery, she was rolling her neck. I actually didn't even see her rolling her neck. But when the podcaster himself, repeated what she was asking or what she had said, he rolled his neck to mock her. And that's when it stood out to me that even though she wasn't saying anything offensive, her character and her mannerisms were still getting in the way of what she had to say. So now, instead of him really paying attention to what she said, because she didn't say anything wrong, she was just telling him what her issues were. But her delivery was just so off-putting with the rolling of the neck that he mocked her and took away from what it was that he needed to say to her. Because all I could focus on was the fact that he was like, oh, okay, so you make $35,000 a year and you a bus driver. Da, da, da. And, you know, he was mocking her, and it took away from the content.
But it wasn't about the mock. It was more about her saying that the specific question is, if I was to ask your exes, what would they say about you? What would they say? And she said, well, they would say that I had an attitude and I talk back. That's just case in point right there. And she see absolutely nothing wrong with that. And I see a lot of women that see absolutely nothing wrong with that. Now, if you have your man and you're doing some of those things, it's abuse. Verbal abuse. Like, it's abuse. When women have attitudes, like, they make it seem like they think it's abuse.
It is not abusive.
It's very abusive. And that's the thing about it. Like, women know exactly what to say, to do, to press buttons, and they do it deliberately. And it's abuse. I don't care, like, how if you was to turn it around, you wouldn't think it was so funny, because when men do it to women, that's what y'all call it. Y'all call it abuse. He's trying to keep her in a space to keep her down. You can't get along without me. Don't nobody want you. You stupid. And stuff like that. So how is that not abuse?
Well, I mean, putting someone down and telling them they're always going to be alone versus you rolling your neck and talking back when someone tells you to, I don't know, bringing them a glass of water and you don't feel like getting up and you're like, hey, get it yourself. That's not abusive. But that's just an attitude. But you know what I'm saying?
But that's not what's being said, because having a slick ass mouth doesn't require you to say, hey, go get it yourself. That's not having a slick mouth or attitude. Those two combinations right there is the setup for abuse, because you're verbally abusing your spouse. You're verbally abusing
by telling
your
him
man.
to get his own fucking water.
No, you're concentrating on one thing. Talking about
because
one.
I'm just giving you an example of women having bad attitudes.
But that's not a bad attitude.
But you're
to me.
saying that a bad attitude or the attitude that she's given is abusive to men.
When someone
and I don't want to tread that direction.
When someone says that they have a slick ass mouth and they have an attitude, what I'm saying is when you combine both of those together, that's being abusive to your man. Like you're talking to your man that you're supposed to have respect for. But why would you be in a relationship having a slick ass mouth and an attitude towards your man? Not just an individual, towards your man. And if you having that towards your man, let's just say, for instance, like I say, hey, ain't nothing wrong with a little smack every now and then. Like a little smack upside your cheek don't hurt anything. It's just a smack. But women get away with a lot of things because they know that most men, not all, but most men won't do anything about the verbal abuse that's coming towards their way. We turn the other cheek, we leave. We kind of leave that argument that you're trying to start, and because you're not receiving what you really want from us, then the verbal attacks come.
Well, I don't know whether this conversation is really about verbal attacks more than it is about just the way women deliver their tone, their attitude. I see where you have drawn a very thin line between having a bad attitude and being difficult and that crossing over into being verbally abusive. I get it. I'm not sold on it 100% just because a woman who is not submissive and who talks back may not look at that as abuse, because I don't. I just look at it as being aggressive. I look at it as being non-compliant. And
so
a lot of those things. So why would you want to
be in a relationship? What's the sense of being in a relationship?
Well, let me say this.
Because you need to be by yourself.
That's not necessarily. I wish I knew how long. I feel bad not knowing how long both sets of my grandparents were married. Both sets. And I know what you're going to say. Well, that's a different time. Okay. But it's relevant. Both sets of my grandparents were married and stayed married, never divorced. Okay. Both of my grandmothers had smart mouths. Ironically, because I'm nothing like that. But my grandma would shut my grandfather down. He got up. If the yard needed to be cut, she would say, hey, the grass needed to be cut. Hey, the garbage needed to be taken out. And his ass would get up and do it right then. He didn't wait. I have a thing with that. Like
they have weaker men. They had weaker men in that generation.
Neither one of my grandparents were weak men. I just think that
they was weak if they was taking that.
Well, I think the men back in that time still looked at things a little bit different too, because my grandfather called my grandma mother. Yeah. That was their term. You know, he said that to her. And so
I don't know what's going on in your family.
Well, listen. I said this is an example because if my aunt or two aunts that saw this and my mom and her sisters saw both of their parents acting that way and they went into their relationships, this is going to be something that they carry. And neither one of the people that I'm naming or referencing are abusive women. They're not abusive. But that is abuse. But they learned a way in which the foolishness. Yeah, some of the things that the men were doing is determined to be foolish.
But that's abuse, though. Like, what you're doing is because you don't like the way that your life is or whoever it is that you got with. And then you start to resent that person. You develop an attitude. That attitude behind that tends to make you be, like, abusive. Like, is a woman, and I say this a lot of times, like, when you're talking about grandparents, and I'm just going to go your route. When you go grandparents, and then you talking about women who watch they mom say, hey, men ain't shit, and treat men like they ain't shit, and talk to them like they ain't shit. Well, that's abuse. And then they transfer that over to their abuse, and they think they can talk to men like that. So I'm trying to figure out, like, what are you saying? Like not being respectful, because at the end of the day, if it was in reverse, there wouldn't be a woman alive that would say, why is he talking to her like that? Like, That's crazy that he telling her to get her ass up and go get something to drink. What, your feet broken? Get your ass up and go get my drink. Like, if I was to say that in front of your friends, someone in your friends would say, now that's crazy the way he talking to you. But for you to think that it's okay for your grandma, okay. You just said it was okay.
I didn't say it was okay. I'm saying that I know that these two people loved each other. I know that I can't say
that don't mean
he
you don't abuse people.
I was about to say, I can't say he doesn't feel abused because he's not here to say, hey, I did feel abused. He's not here to speak on that. So I can't 100% disagree with you. But what I can say is that they both adored each other. It was just the way the relationship went.
Worked. Yeah, worked. It was abusive.
On both, and both. And the reason why I said it had to be the time, it was because both of my grandmothers were like that. Quick to cuss their husbands out. Quick. I mean, but those husbands still had 3 meals a day. The house was still clean. The kids were still taken care of. It was just that whatever they deemed foolishness was said. And it was said like...
So you fast forward to today. So you think that's acceptable for women to be doing that to men right now?
I do not.
That want to be in a relationship and think that it's okay for them to follow the pattern of what you're talking about to talk to men that way.
I don't think it's okay. I just wanted to first let you know that the behavior is learned. That's number one.
Yeah, I know that.
Number two, more than looking at it as being abusive, I look at it as not being your man's peace. That's why I'm saying it's behavior and character. Because these are most things that a man is not going to be like, hold on, honey. You know, these things are abusive. He would more say, that shit gives me a headache. I'm going to my homeboy house. Oh, I can't be around all this nagging and shit, so I'll be back. You understand what I'm saying? But the key words here is I'll be back. A person that feels that they're getting abuse most likely is not coming back. So if you can deal with what's going on, then most likely you're just dealing with little nuances, little attitude that she catches here and there, and it's disturbing your peace. Well, that's the narrative that I would like to roll with rather than it being abusive.
Got you. When I've talked to women who are being abused, they don't think they being abused either. Like, I've seen women in relationships where the men are actually physically abusing them. And if you ask them that, they don't know they being abused. They like, no, he loved me. No, it's okay. No, it's fine. So just because you sitting there telling me that, well, he didn't really say anything, he might have not known. Like, those are things about individuals that they take it because, well, this person loves me and they giving me some pussy and 3 meals a day, that it's okay. And I'm telling you, letting you know, like, it's not. Like, it's just not okay. Like, that's what would make me, like, if I was to see my granddad being handled like that by my grandma, someone who I love, my grandma who I love, I would still be like, granddad, what the hell is wrong with you? Like, if I was to look at that scenario, because what would happen in that scenario if it was, turned around, people would be looking at my grandma saying, like, God damn, like, I don't want to go over the house because it's going to be like that. And I do have family members, I don't have to name names or this and that, that are married where it is like that in reverse, where the man gets drunk and he's verbally assaulting and being verbally abusive to his wife. Well, everybody in my family is saying that's abuse. So what I'm saying is, like, if you're going to be in a relationship, first of all, you got to get therapy, because to have that attitude and a slick ass mouth and know, especially when you love someone, you know what buttons to press. You even know when you hitting below the belt. Like, these are things that we definitely know. You know what I'm saying? And then you have all your friends and everybody there being in awkward scenarios. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? They looking over there and like, I don't know if I should say something. I don't know if I should go the other way.
This is actually a pretty deep topic, because as I'm sitting here, like, I know a lot of beautiful women that just have a bad attitude. Really, really bad. I met a girl probably maybe, I don't know, 1.5 years, maybe 2 years ago. And when you look at her, she's just tall and she has the perfect complexion and she's just beautiful. But then she opens her mouth and she's abrasive and aggressive, and you're thinking to yourself, that's not attractive. It kind of ruins everything that I just said about the person. It ruins everything, throws it off. It's off balance. It's just not. She's just not an easy person to love. I can imagine because if I'm just meeting you and I've known you a year and a half, and I feel standoffish because of the way you're being verbally aggressive and just
She has a man?
No.
That's why. This is what I'm talking about right here.
You know, it's just, it's weird. And then I met a guy that was like into her, and he was just someone very meek.
So, are y'all friends?
No.
Okay. Because I was about to say, have you ever sat down with her and told her?
If I ever get the opportunity, but it will come out of, it will probably be a fight. What I was going to say is, I have friends that need to have this talk, but I want to move the non-friend at the top of the list and tell her, no, it's not practice. It's just that this is someone who I feel like doesn't know and need to be told. My friends know, and they would, my first sentence to them, they're going to be like, Kaynah, I know, I need to change it. This person doesn't know. She doesn't know it's not cute because I think she came from that environment. She's from an aggressive environment, and she's pretty, and she still gets attention. So those type of women, to me, need to hear it first. Like, that shit ain't cute. I don't give a fuck how good you look. But sneakers look good, jewelry, sunglasses, hair on lace, but that attitude is stinks.
But I disagree. Your friends should be at the top of the list, because even the ones that, what you just said, I want to tackle this. If you said your friends know that they got a bad attitude, and y'all leave the question mark right there, like you're telling me a friend gonna be like, I know my attitude is bad, but instead of you saying how to either fix it, check it, or do any of the above, y'all just go to the next topic. I'm trying to figure out why.
It's not necessarily true. It's not really the next topic. It's just knowing your person. There are some people, no matter what you tell them, they're just pretty much, that's their way. One friend in particular, she was talking the other day. I met this really nice guy. He's really successful. And I just wanted to let him know that he wasn't the bee's knees. My rebuttal to her was, you gonna make somebody hurt your feelings. Because knowing her, I know what he could say back. I wouldn't say it because she's my friend and I love her and I know she's of value. But he just knows the basic information. This is what you do for work. This is how many kids you got. And this is how old you are. Just off the basic information, she's not a perfect 10. Off the basics. Mm-hmm. So
then that's all you bring up.
Right.
Off the basics, you ain't no 10.
Yeah, right.
So your attitude need to be checked.
You need to check yourself. You need to check yourself.
But did you tell her?
Unless you're a 10, you don't have no business being...
But did you tell her that?
Like that. I told her that he would say something to her feelings because she's not perfect.
And see, this is what...
I did say that. I said that he would... What if he said something to hurt your feelings? You said, hey, he's not the bee's knees. What if he told you you wasn't the bee's knees either and then told you why?
Let me tell you some raw truth. Raw truth is this. Men know that they a catch. I don't know why women have it in their head like they control like the narrative of relationships. Like, they don't. At the end of the day, men control the whole situation of relationships. What is she looking for? A relationship.
She wants a successful man and a relationship. And you know what? She deserves that.
That's cool.
She's high value as fuck.
But you say that and you think that. Now, this is the thing where you are off script and wrong. Is a friend, you're going to say what a friend would say. And you also did some shit that you should have went a little further with is a friend and tell her bad points. Is a friend, you're going to say, she deserves it. Even though a few minutes ago you just said, but there are some things about her.
Yeah, but she still deserves a great guy.
Lady. Deserving a good guy and being the woman for a good guy is two different things. You know what I'm saying? Just because you deserve one, like everybody deserves one. I deserve a fivesome. You know what I'm saying? But that don't fucking mean that I'm getting one.
There's not even such thing.
It's the bullshit. You want me to show you? Shit, like a player, here you go. You know what I'm saying? It is a such thing as a fivesome. But anyway, I digress. Just because she deserve it my thing is, by you not telling her about the attitude and also about saying that, well, I don't want to treat him like he's the beast. He is the king of all kings, the God of all God. Like, at the end of the day, this is what you want. This is the relationship that you want to be in. And by you trying to play games, like, and that's the thing that I find in a lot of it, it's this whole thing about, well, I don't want to tell him that I like him, but I like him. But then when he don't reciprocate, because you don't know that he like you, because he just think you just, because you don't want to let him know that he's the, what you say again?
Mm-hmm. The bee's knees.
Yeah, okay. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to let him know he the shit, because he is the shit. You know what I'm saying? And you not the shit.
Right. And you know what? This strikes me because we were looking at the podcast the other day. The girl that we started the conversation about with the other podcaster said, why can't you just be, he used the word like peaceful or friendly or agreeable. And she said, that's just hard. And he was like, why is it just so hard to do the right thing?
Know why?
Why is it so hard to be agreeable? No, I can answer why. I know why.
Go ahead.
Because
Preach.
the one time that we were kind, didn't look at all the bad, didn't roll our neck, didn't roll our eyes, and didn't judge, we got fucked. And so, because we got fucked, we left that situation saying never again. And the one thing we always remember are, I don't want to say red flags, but that's kind of what it is. Men do and say things to get you to do things. And so you can't always go off of or reciprocate, you're so beautiful with, thank you.
But you don't have
You can't always reciprocate all these things that men are telling you because they know that's what you want to hear. So I get where you're saying, hey, the games suck. Women need to stop playing games. But women also, I've heard you say, women need to stop being so gullible. A motherfucker tell you beautiful and you're on your back.
Yeah, but giving up pussy and going for love is two different things. Like, you have whole traits and relationship traits. Those don't have nothing to do with it. You getting tricked out some pussy is one thing. You getting tricked into a whole relationship is something totally motherfucking different. It requires a lot more. And it also requires you for your eyes to be open a lot more. I would think your eyes should be open for both pussy in relationship, but for some reason nowadays women separate those two. So that's why I'm separating them. So when I'm speaking of women being gullible, it's really because the idea of it comes from, they group every guy together instead of looking for the correct guy. And when they choose the wrong guy, they just group every guy in that same section, saying, well, all men are like this, and having experienced a good guy. You see what I'm saying? Like, you can't make a decision based on, like, if I was to base it on one of my ex that cheated, and then I just say, well, should every woman cheat? That's not true. You know what I'm saying? If you're just using common sense, that's not true.
I get that.
So hold on, lady. Hold on.
I get it.
Hold on. So for women to sit there and say, well, we got fucked, or I got fucked over, this and that. Cool, you got fucked over. But what part did you play in you getting fucked over? See, that's the part that never get brought up. What part did you play of your fuckery that happened to you? Because it takes two people. Now, if you go in that bitch like Elmer Fudd, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm supposed to ignore you got a bill on your hat? Like, I'm supposed to ignore the fact that if someone want to give me $100 and you got took and you ain't protect your $100, I'm the bad guy? The world don't fucking work like that. Mama ain't raised no fucking suckers. I was born at night, not last night. And I say the same thing to women. Like, women want this thing when guys treat them good. They don't want that guy. They'll never want him. He too soft. I don't like that. He seem a little feminine to me. I need a guy that's a roughneck, that know how to handle me. Like all this type of shit. And when you get handled, your heart broken. And you resentful. And all this other type of shit going on. What part did you play in this shit? Because if you just diving in, like, would you buy a car without pulling the Carfax?
No.
But y'all get men without pulling the Carfax.
All the time. But I think men do the same thing.
We ain't talking about men. We talking about the person who had a complaint. See, this is the other thing that women also don't get right. Every time I hear women often say, but men do that shit too. But men ain't the one that's complaining. Women are. Women are the ones that's complaining about trying to get a relationship. Women are the ones that's complaining about they ain't good men out here. It ain't men. I ain't looked at no reality show and saw a man on that shit. Man, ain't no motherfucking women out here. I don't know where we gonna get them from. There's nothing but hoes out here. Have you? I ain't think so.
Anyway.
see what I'm saying?
Anyway. Men
You gonna go there?
need to be better prepared to get through some of that ice. That's just the way it goes. I get what you're saying, and I totally agree. But there are things that you do. You go fishing one time, and you buy a certain type of bait. You ain't catching no fucking fish. But the guy next to you, he don't have fake bait. He got real minnows that he put on the end of the hook and throw that bitch in the water. So the next time you show up at the pier, you're not going to buy fake bait. You're going to buy the minnows because that's the way you fish. Mm-hmm. So dating is the same way. Women have dated bad guys. So if you're the good guy, I feel like...
So the women don't got to change their attitude. That's what
I'm not saying that. Absolutely. This topic was for them specifically. I'm definitely on your side about that. However, I'm saying this. I'm also saying that men who are hunters, professional hunters, by the way, know how to fish. They know how to hunt. And sometimes you have to wait it out. Sometimes you have to be patient. Sometimes you have to be kind. Sometimes you have to cut through.
Mm-hmm. But guess what?
Some of those things. And the reason why I'm saying that is because I have two matriarchs of my family who were not bad women. Mm-hmm. They were lovers. Mm-hmm. This is just who they were. And they wouldn't have been married or had kids if their husband hadn't seen past that. Didn't mean they couldn't cook, clean, give good head. Sorry, Grandma. You understand what I'm saying? No. They got lots of kids, so I know the sex was great. So if the only, but the hero in their life, the Batman and Supermans of their life, cut through all that. I'm not making excuse for women and not saying that they don't need to change their attitude, but I'm also saying that men don't need to put their tail between their legs either. Cut through some of that.
I mean, I think
because notice the trauma. I don't think anybody has a bad attitude because they want to. It's a learned behavior.
I got that, and I do know that men do cut through that. But at the same point in time, you cannot pretend to be submissive. You know what I'm saying? It's either you are or you not. I get sick and tired of this fucking narrative. Like, damn that ice shit. You know what I'm saying? What I'm tired of is you thinking you a light switch. You can cut this shit on and you can cut this shit off. You either submissive or you not. It ain't no shit that you fucking, that you just like, well, if the right man come along, well, I hear this shit all the time. The right man come along, I'll be submissive. Mm-hmm. Bitch, either you submissive or you not.
And that's part of the prerequisite. They need to see that first. And nobody's going to wife you and then see that you be submissive. And
that's why I'm telling you, where you be faulting at is like, you need to tell your friend, like, listen, I see where you don't want to give him his props. But let's just talk about you for right now. That can get you knocked out the box. And a lot of times women don't do that. Like if my homeboy was to come to me and then he's trying to holler at this chick and he say, you know, the chick, hey, she bad, man. She might be a tad bit out my league. And I know some of his weaknesses. I will point them shits out. Like, I can load the gun and shoot it because I'm your friend. Because I will tell his ass that, listen, now you know you got a drinking problem. Now how long you gonna hide that? You know what I'm saying? This coming out. So you better get right and get everything going. See, women don't do that. See, women have an attitude and you let them know, you just let them go like, well, hey, you got 3 things wrong with you and you ain't a 10. But you'll tell me that, but won't tell her that. You understand? I'm like, this shit ain't making no sense to me. Like, she need to be told this. And you know why? It's because they don't believe it when the man say it to them. Yeah. That's why. Because they going to be like,
I don't think wrong with you about not believing it. I just think it takes a certain amount of humility to accept that. And what I was saying earlier is I think all my girlfriends will accept it. Mm-hmm. I think they would be like, Kaynah, I know you're right. I know I have this issue. I know. The one person who doesn't know is the one I want to say it to the most, though, still. But I get your point.
And you know what they're going to accept? Loneliness. Dying alone.
Would you like a cat or a dog?
That's right. One of the two. You know what I'm saying? You better check that attitude or you won't get checked out that box.
Just like someone who rejects the other sexually in a marriage or a relationship. That's like our second topic, and it's detrimental to a relationship. Rejection as a whole is a big no-no, which is why we saved the topic for last. It just means so many things. Let me start by saying this. At the age that I am now, and I'm having conversations with other men my age or other women my age, we're on two different levels. Women are in their prime, and men are slowing the fuck down. Point blank, period. It's in every biology book. I know it's not for every American in the world, but typically, the older the woman gets, the more sexually explicit she wants to be, and the older the man gets, the more he wants to sit down, watch TV, and maybe get his dick sucked once a week and get some pussy once a week. That's it. Okay? So they're going in both different directions. And because of that, and I will say this, it's not all men just don't want to. It's just that their testosterone levels are low. They're working extra hard. They're dealing with stress at work. They're just dealing with being a man in general. I get it. But it's not, that doesn't make it acceptable. Just like a woman with postpartum still got to get up and make dinner. You got to go. You got to go. I understand you going through postpartum, but you still need to breastfeed the baby, and your husband still need to eat, and the other kids got to get up and go to school. So you need to get up and go. It is the same thing for a man. I understand that your testosterone levels are low and your back hurts, but what else can we be doing? Because all it is, even though women know the facts, it still spells out rejection on some level. Even though you know in your head it's not his fault, your heart still hurts. Because your heart still needs some type of food, some type of emotional connection. I mention this every show. Women get chemical releases, hormones are released that make us feel good and feel safe, and we need that. And surprisingly, those hormones and endorphins just can come from a hug. So that's why I'm saying it's not all about just physical intercourse. Rejection as a whole is just bad. If you can't fuck me, then maybe you should suck me. And if you can't suck me, then maybe you should just hold me. And if you can't hold me, then maybe we should just go to the jacuzzi tonight and sit in there and talk. There are just things that you can do. Not, babe, I can't fuck you tonight, and get on the PlayStation. That ain't gonna work. That is because that shows, yes, I can't fuck you, and I'm not sorry, because I have something else I can do. I have something else that can take up my 35 minutes, my 45 minutes of usual fuck time. I have something to fill that spot. And what is she doing? Scrolling, texting her friend who's probably getting dick. It sucks. It just sucks. We got to be doing something so that it doesn't suck.
Try reading a book. But at the end of the day, what we probably boil down to is the attitude. Because like you said, 9 times out of 10 would keep women from the affection that they want is always 9 times out of 10. I let you talk with like not even saying a word. So I would appreciate if you sit there in silence like a good co-host and let Alpha Male God speak. Because when I speak, it is law. So at the end of the day, the attitude is basically what keep women from dick. It's basically what keep women always in the room or away from somebody else. It's not that the man don't want to be around you because you have a good attitude. It's that he just don't want to be around your ass because he don't want to hear the shit that's coming out of your mouth. The everyday barking and talking and shit like that. Like women think that it's nothing. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, because we just got finished talking about the shit with her grandma and say, hey, get out there and cut that yard, boy. You know what I'm saying? Like, for some strange reason, women think that this shit is okay. Now, granted, you can do some shit that will help with those scenarios. Mm-hmm. Now, everybody comes to their things of terms at different points. Not all the time that someone knows what's going on. Back is one thing. not being sexually compatible could be another thing. There are things that like I'm into rough sex. My lady ain't into rough sex. Now, when she says to, hey, just fuck me, and I fuck her rough, it's not like you ain't get fucked, right? But you got fucked at the end of the day. It's just not the way that you wanted it. And then if you can't fuck, if I still wanted to choke you out, would that suffice? Probably not.
Hell no.
See what I'm saying? See, it's different things to this thing. So you also got to know, like, who you compatible with and what are the things that y'all like that y'all can be in unison about. Because I can get,
but I'm going to choke you tonight.
Because, hey, you want them off the PlayStation? Some buttons got to be pressed. So if the press button got to be around your throat, hey, we have like whips and spanks and everything else that could go on. I'll get off that PlayStation. Come put you across my knee and give you a smack or two. We together. You know what I'm saying? We spending some quality time. But see, it ain't gonna seem like quality time to you because you just said, like, what are we doing, right? So you could sit over there and scroll, like, if you would like to. You know what I'm saying? And let him be at B. Or we can find a solution. Every solution isn't as simple as like, hey, I want you to get off this and let's do that. There are things like the scenario that you was even talking about postpartum. I've seen a couple of women that was postpartum. Them niggas ain't getting no meals. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know what the fuck you talking about. I don't know who you been talking to. When they in postpartum, ain't shit going on. Know why? Because they don't feel like it. They got something else going on with them. And it's the same thing for...
It's a chemical imbalance.
Whatever. Well, it's a chemical imbalance when the nigga can't fuck you. You know what I'm saying? Some shit is off. And that I don't understand how we not understanding this. Like, some shit ain't working right now. And people come to frustration when that type of shit going on, especially
You know
men.
what makes you frustrated, though? I'll tell you what makes you frustrated. The lack of concern as to what that rejection has done. No matter what the issue is, your back, whatever the issue is, it is the lack of what that means to your spouse. You just can't walk in a room and be like, hun, I'm sorry, I'm not in the mood, I don't want to fuck you, or I can't fuck you, and not replace it with something else. It's not tell me we're not fucking tonight and then walking off to go do something by yourself.
But I just replaced
you want me to get off the PlayStation? No, motherfucker, because your ass shouldn't have been on the PlayStation to begin with.
But
how the fuck did you get on the PlayStation? How do you go from I can't have sex with you to Kobe?
Easy. I don't even understand that. The same way
I don't understand either.
The same way that y'all go from scrolling to loving hip hop. You just do it like Nike. Like, at the end of the day, y'all conversation has to be, like I said, in unison. Like, to me, if those type of things are going on, there's something about you that you lack as far as, like, piquing the guy's interest enough to come over.
I don't think so. I think the guy's just not creative.
You can think so all you want to, but a lot of women, like, you don't even tell your friends they ain't tens. Like, I mean, so I understand by you saying I don't think so. Like, of course you don't think so. You think that your friend should go on along with that bullshit. But that's not the case. I'm talking about a solution. Like, just because you don't think so, that you don't know how the other person feel. Like, I wouldn't know how a woman would feel with postpartum because I could never have that. But you don't know how it is not to be able to have sex when you're a man. Like, one thing I do know about men hold high pride esteem about their sexuality. And when that part is not working for them, that's not like just, hey, just get that shit out your head. Just, you know what I'm saying, just eat me out or whatever, this and that. People deal with different sexual things, and that would be the same if you was in a sexual crisis and something was going on with you. So I'm saying
I would still suck dick when I'm in a sexual crisis. But
let's say
my mouth still works.
But your period isn't a sickness. I'm talking about a sickness that would prevent you from doing that. Like, if a sickness was going on, you wouldn't feel like sucking dick. You understand what I'm saying? Like, what I'm saying is, like, you have to be in a mental place. So what I'm saying is, like, in a relationship, if sexual rejection is going on, you have to get to the bottom line of why the rejection is going on, because it might not be as just as simple as his back hurt or something is not going on.
But why isn't there a concern? I get that, and the conversation should be had as to why we're having rejection. My thing is what do you do next besides just going to do you? And you just answered that. You said you got to be in a mental place to want to do the other things. But then you need to make sure you put yourself in a mental place. I understand that it might be hard, but I would say the same thing to my friend if she was postpartum.
What
we got to get you out of this so your family can eat.
That's cool. But what happens is it's not that simple. Someone ain't snapping out a postpartum like that. And also the thing about women that I've experienced is a lot of times is when women don't know how to stop pushing. You know what I'm saying? Because they think that they know like what's going on with the guy. I wouldn't assume to know like what's going on with your period or postpartum or anything else. When a woman be like she cramping, the only thing I know is you want some Midol. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't know shit else past that. And I'm not gonna pretend. But imagine someone just nagging. Hey, you tried Midol? Hey, you tried some Advil, muscle and back? Hey, you tried some nauseous medicine? Hey, you know what we could try? We could try some hot tea, you know what I'm saying, while you ride with the wind down. Like, that's women for you. Women push and push and push the issue, and that's what I'm saying is like,
but that's how we have expectations for you to do the same thing.
But your expectations, because we clearly see that for your man, it's a lot higher than your friend. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes that could be a problem. See, that's when you're not meeting a common ground. You see what I'm saying? Like, there are times, I'm going to speak for me. There are times that if something's going on between me and my lady, I might not feel it right then and there. But because she's calm, it'll make me calm. And then it'll make me comfort her. But if she starts to get like an attitude and then grunting and all this type of shit, it just pushes me farther and farther away. But if I see that, she'd be like, hey, you know, we can have sex, but, you know, you want to watch a movie, whatever this and that. I might not want to do it at that. But if I be seeing her calm, I start to have a little warmth in my heart.
And that's why I want to know why the warmth isn't there at the rejection site. Because that would make the big difference. Because it's not the fact that you can't fuck. It's not that. For me,
how you know?
I'm speaking for myself.
Okay.
If my guy comes to me and says,
you
look,
can fuck, but he can't.
I've been filming all day, my back hurt, I'm not in the mood. That's not a big deal. What he does next is the big deal. If you told me, if my man said, hey, my back hurt, you know what, but I noticed we haven't been out to dinner in 3 weeks. I don't want you to cook tonight. I don't even feel like waiting on food. Get dressed, we're going to go out. And then after that, we might catch a movie or just go sit on the beach. Can't walk on the beach because my back hurts, but I wouldn't mind just sitting on the beach and the moon over the water. I'm going to forget about sex. I've already forgotten because now I'm excited about what I'm going to wear to dinner, where are we going, and I'm going to the beach after, and I'm having a great night, and sex has nothing to do with it. That's what I'm trying to tell you. And the topic is, what do you do about rejection in a marriage or a relationship? You do something else. If your partner if you're the one doing the rejecting and you know you can't do it, plan to have something else in place. Not just, I can't fuck you, see ya. That doesn't work. And it comes off like, now you got an attitude because I can't fuck you. No, it's not that you can't fuck me. It's that you didn't think of me enough to replace the activity with something else. Because whether you know it or not, every time we have sex, we connect because we're spending time together. So it's not the sex, it's the connection. So find another way to connect. That's what I'm saying. Don't go off by yourself. So now you're telling me we can't have sex so we can't connect? So that's the only way we could connect is to have sex? So it's the person who's doing the pushing away and the rejection. It's their job to escalate it and find something else to do since they can't. Not to, okay, I can't fuck you and you about to spend the rest of the evening by yourself in here watching TV alone. That's like a double fuck up. So I'm trying to figure out why doesn't the heartfelt, what else can I do? Why doesn't that come at the rejection site? Already in the sentence. I can't do this, but we're going to do this instead. That would be my question.
It happens for the same reason that women do the shit.
You know
They
what?
just
You're so damn good
they
at
just
turning everything back around
already,
instead of honestly answering the question as a man.
It doesn't matter how I answer it. You ask me, just like you said, that's your opinion. Because you're talking about just you. So we're talking about you. I can't answer questions about you. I think you're weird. But you say weird shit and you do weird shit. So I can't answer that shit. But at the end of the day, I can answer how I want to answer, because at the end of the day, I've dealt with a lot of different women, and I can say that at the end of the day, for me, again, and I'm talking about me, there are certain things that women do that are not always in the interest of a man, because there have been times where, in scenarios that you're talking about, like a man can work all day. When a woman is focused on just herself, it's just herself. She can watch the nigga work all day. And the minute she even see him hit the kitchen, hit the sofa, anything for just relaxation, here it come. Babe. And babe is followed by a lot of aggravation that's coming right behind that shit. Because you know what she want to do? She want to snuggle.
Oh.
She want to watch a movie. She want to do A, B, C, D. Not the fact that how was your day? Was it stressful? Like, are you all right to cuddle? Like, any of that shit. Like, none of that shit comes into play. Not how I feel. Not where am I at mentally. Because she don't give a fuck. She gives a fuck about her and me making her happy. Like, because you want to know real shit, right? Because I'm giving real answers. Because there's going to be a lot of men on this shit that was like, yeah, this shit experienced this. I experienced this shit like last night. It happens because different people are different places at different times. And that's why I say you have to come to a place. Sometimes either women or men can miss the mark. I'm just speaking from the perspective of me and being a man. A lot of times if I had a stressful day and I had a long day, the woman hasn't even asked me. My woman, not just a woman, my woman hasn't even asked me, like, did you have a stressful day? Like, are you okay, this and that? Not, babe, you want to watch a movie? Not that shit. Not how, you know what I'm saying? Not like, am I in a good mental place? And then I have to suppress that. So I'm also dealing with everything else that I've been dealing with all day and trying to come on into a good place, but now also trying to make sure that you straight. So sometimes that don't equate into sex. It doesn't equate to me in a great mood, the best me that I can be. And then if we're talking about like me, everything always ain't that simple. Like people that's been watching this shit, I'm poly. When one pussy strikes out, because I've had this happen to me twice, think my woman came up with a solution? No. You know why? Because she's still going to get fucked at the end of the night. You know what I'm saying? Damn, that other pussy ain't come through for me. I ain't see her get on the phone, scroll. I ain't see a scroll come through, a phone call, nothing. But she made sure she got her nut and went to sleep. Meantime, I'm up after that. You know what I'm saying? Trying to figure out what the fuck just happened. I had two pussies and it boiled down to one. Because one bailed out on me. Not only did it happen once, but it happened twice. Did she come up with a solution? Absolutely not. So I'm trying to figure out, as a woman, what would you do?
Well, I would say, in that particular situation, that you're still getting vagina. In the other situation, the woman ain't getting no dick. She don't got dick on standby. She can't call somebody when she gets rejected and say, you know what?
Turnarounds?
My husband didn't kiss me or fuck me today.
Instead of answering the question like a real woman.
I'm answering it. I'm saying in my mind.
No, you turned it around.
In my mind, you're still getting vagina. You're not getting two, but you're still getting one.
But I said, what was the solution? Because I'm upset about the simple fact that one bailed out on me. And you still getting your nut regardless. So you're still talking about you. Just
give him head and then give him the pussy. There you go. There's the solution. That's all I can come up with right now.
See what I'm saying?
It's a solution. It's a solution. My mouth and my vagina do not feel the same. So, therefore, if we got two women and one dropped out, then the mouth got to work and the vagina got to work. Maybe an hour or two apart, but we're going to make it work.
Mm-hmm. But you could get on the phone. You know what I'm saying? You can make some shit happen. You can get on the hunt.
I guess you could say, honey,
and savage.
I had something set up for you. It didn't come through. Let's go to the strip club. I think women can be creative when things fall through and when they're not in the mood. I get it. But oftentimes than not, when a woman is not in the mood, she does have, because I gave a good example. When I'm on my monthly, that doesn't mean I'm not sexually active with my partner. I find alternatives. But when my partner cannot be sexually active with me, there are no alternatives. I have alternatives. I've always had an alternative. The funny thing is,
there's alternatives.
That's an alternative from the beginning of your relationship. The first time you're with your guy and he comes to see you and you in the red, you're like, but baby, I can suck your dick.
But
every woman has said that.
Gotcha. There's always an alternative though. The thing is, women ain't happy with the alternative. See, a lot of times, women take things that men do as just being super petty. And when I'm saying the word petty, I don't mean like they just, let me say, not petty, unappreciative. See, a lot of times, like for me, I'm a person that likes to have conversations. You know what I'm saying? I don't talk a lot. It is with my lady. So when we having conversations, that's me spending time with you, regardless of the fact of what's going on. Now, would my lady see it that way? I don't really think so. But that is really the time for me where I'm telling her about my life, things that go on, things about me, things I'm thinking on, what's going on. And I think a lot of times women miss those moments. So if you ever find your man in those moments and you having those conversations and sex ain't really going down, because trust me, when men get intoxicated and start rambling, trust me, pay attention to what's going on. And I think women miss those opportunities a lot of times because they always trying to get to the sex. And I'm not saying anything wrong with that. But what I'm saying is like when men are showing that part, that they don't show other people, I just think it's just being missed. And women miss that opportunity and be like, but, and you just miss it.
Okay, I'll agree with you. I won't have a rebuttal, but I think men are the same way. I think that you guys are one tone. You think by just telling your truth and walking away suffices. And it's not cool because we're still left there wondering, is it us? Is there someone else? Even though you're telling us your back hurt. And you know why we're doing that? Is because you delivered the message and you walked away. So the only thing that was important for you is to deliver the message. I can't fuck you. Nothing else seemed important. What else can I do? I wonder how this is going to make her feel. None of that. You just can't fuck me. And there's nothing after that. And that is just not good enough. Because A, you allow the mind to wander. 2, you're leaving the person alone. 3, you didn't have enough for that person to come up with a plan fucking B. Period.
You're talking about the same scenario. And we talked about this scenario and we moved on past the scenario. Because every scenario don't end like that. And we've already addressed that. Every scenario is not every man coming into a room and sitting there saying, I can't fuck you and turn away. Every scenario can't be like that.
I'm not saying it is. I'm just saying that's the basic gist of sexual rejection for me is not just being rejected sexually, it's being rejected as a whole because I don't feel like you get out of spending that time with me and making the connection just because you can't put your penis in my vagina.
Yeah, but it comes with time though, but that's what I said. Like for me, like you just spoke about you, but for me, it takes time to get to that place. You get what I'm saying? So
but it wouldn't take time once your dick stood up, you stick it in, you have sex, you nut, you go. But it takes time for you to come up with something else to do. It takes time for you to be like, hey, I can't fuck with you. I can't fuck you, but I'm about to get in the bed with you and watch TV.
Yes, it does. Because at the end of the day, like I said, if you don't ask how that person is, and I will bring that up again, if you don't ask how that person is, they not in a mental space of how that's going to go. Like, I was looking at a podcast earlier today. I don't know if this is true or not, but I watched a woman say, like, hey, before she has sex with a person, she said, hey, for the pussy to be really ready, it takes 18 to 40 minutes for it to be fully where she needed to be. And I was like, it's interesting. You know what I'm saying? Now, you might have some women that disagree. You might have some women that do agree. But she was talking to another man, which he was like, 40 minutes is a long time. And she was like, but with women, it's a different step. that comes along with the thing. So sometimes it's talking, it's touching, and this and that. So she's not just talking about like jumping right,
into
you know what
sex.
I'm saying, like right into sex.
Yeah.
So I could understand that. So that 40 minutes that she just took could be 40 minutes also for a man, because he has to also deal with the idea of letting his woman down, what he's going to do and stuff like that. And it takes a minute to come around to that point. You know what I'm saying? Because he's also...
But don't you know you can't fuck before you can't fuck? Don't you know? I'm just the question.
Not necessarily. You know what I'm saying? Like, and even if you do know that, the main question is always going to be why. You get what I'm saying? Like, it's not a whole thing, because you start saying things to yourself like, well, this typically turn me on. Why this ain't turning me on? Like, you do... I think like anybody, you question yourself first. You don't question the other person. Mm-hmm. So you're going to question yourself. Well, this normally turn me on. Why this ain't happening? Or why this is... So you sit with yourself before you can explain it to somebody else. I mean, that would be the same thing as going to a therapist. A therapist can give you answers, but you still got to be able to talk about them. So that's why you see sometimes when people go to therapists, they sit there for a minute. Mm-hmm. You see what I'm saying? Like, the therapist can push, but might not nothing come out. They have to feel comfortable to say, okay, this is what's bothering me. Mm-hmm. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So what I'm saying is, like, sometimes it's like that for certain people. Like, I don't feel like a woman would just say that, expect a guy to know that she's in postpartum. You see what I'm saying? But he knows something wrong, and he's going to say what's wrong. And as the woman, she's going to say nothing. You see what I'm saying? And now he got to push and poke, but he's also gonna be like, is it me? Is it her?
Same thing.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The same scenario. So you still have to look at the scenario is like it could be just as much as a shocker to him it is to you, but he's dealing with the problem, trying to figure out like what's going on. So it's not always like, hey, immediately have that solution. I don't think it works like that. I don't think it even works like that even far as like mental health or anything else. Like, you have to come to terms with it first.
Right. Speaking of coming to terms, it's time for the tap in section of the night. If you guys don't know what tap in is, it's your personal issues, it's your questions, it's your comments, it's your thoughts. And you can submit your tap in by sending Alpha Male an email at spadeperry@gmail.com. That's at spadeperry@gmail.com. Just give me a moment while here it is. Here is the tap in for the evening. This comes from a young lady through email. My baby daddy and I have been separated for about 5 years. He moved on, I moved on. However, when we both have issues with our significant others, we sleep together, with an understanding, of course. Now, all of a sudden, he wants me back, but he's still with his current girl. How should I handle this? And is it my place to bring up his current situation? We made an agreement to never ask. So this is an understanding. They both respect each other's other relationships. And now he's crossed the line to say, why don't we just get back together? And even though she made an agreement not to ask about the girl, she knows that him and the girl are still together. Now he felt comfortable asking her to get back together because she's not with her man. They broke up. Relationship over. She's available. But she knows that he still goes home to his girlfriend. So to her, she's looking at it as a thin line of disrespect because, you're still with her. I'm broken up with my guy at least, so I'm technically not doing anything wrong. You are with a girl telling me you want to be back with me. And so she feels like, is it petty or poking the bear for her to be like, what about your girl? So I'm gonna let you start with this one.
I mean, if it's no strings attached, everything else is out the window. If it's no strings attached, there's no such thing as what about your girl, or you know what I'm saying? Like, no strings attached means exactly what it's saying. No strings attached. You get what I'm saying? So if it's no strings attached, you can't say what about your girl. He can't say what about your man. Now,
what should she do about him wanting to be back together with her? I think that's what's really freaking her out.
Well,
is that the understanding was cool for her.
I'm going to just say this. At the end of the day, if you're being 100% honest, baby mamas, baby daddies, ex-relationships, breakups, and everything else should not be hooking up. You know what I'm saying? In a real like-minded individual thinking smartly, you should not be hooking up. Does that happen? Yes. Does it always end up bad? 9 times out of 10, yes. So realistically, y'all shouldn't have been fucking from get-go. You know what I'm saying? Like, if y'all split for a reason. And to me, that's what her question mark is. See, when you dive back in the pond you already been in, you already know what's wrong with the pond. Mm-hmm. You know where the frogs lie. You know where the snakes are. You know all that shit. So it's really not the sex might have been good, because often, a lot of times, like, I hear that shit all the time. Sex wasn't our problem. It was other shit that was a problem. Mm-hmm. And that's more than likely what she see. She see the other shit is a problem. He's probably the same person. And that's what she really having a problem with. Now, what you can't control is you can't control who falls in love with you, still like you, this and that. You shouldn't be giving them no pussy. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you do a clean break, you keep it that way, and then none of this drama will be coming up.
I get what you're saying, but I'm going to go on a limb and I'm going to say this. Especially when I started out the relationship that I'm in now, my first question was, do you have children? And what is your relationship with your baby mama? I have a stigma about men with baby mamas. And it's probably because I'm white picket fence about relationships with children. To me, because I haven't conceived a baby, in my mind, conception is so much love, and I know that's not the case for everybody. But to create another human being, that connection is very deep in my head. In my head, the connection is deep. So when I meet a guy who has a baby mother that he still talks to, interacts with, and I'm confident as fuck, that makes me insecure. Because I don't share that with him. Okay? So that's what I'm going to say first is that already makes the other woman very, very insecure if you have that type of relationship with a person that you have a child with. Mm-hmm. Now, this is why they're insecure. You fall back into that comfort. So, reading this tap in, when I was reading it and she said, hey, I moved on, he moved on, but we have sex when things go wrong in our other relationships. Yeah, that's wrong, but it's also common. It's so common that I was just like, oh, I wasn't shocked. I wasn't like, oh my God, they have relationships with other people and there's a baby daddy and a baby mama getting back together. It was like, yeah.
Yeah, but I wasn't,
of course they did.
Yeah, but I wasn't shocked about it either. But I'm more shocked about you saying, damn, he liked me, so what I'm supposed to do now?
Okay.
Like y'all already, I'm going from your first statement of what you're saying. When we break up with people, so this happened more than once. When we break up with our significant other, we start fucking each other. So if you're looking at it from the standpoint of, now I'm going to speak from his perspective. Some men sometimes get tired of that. Hey, I tried this girl, this ain't work out, now we back fucking. I go into another relationship, start fucking with somebody else, that don't work out, now we back fucking again. I find another girl, that don't work out, and he gonna say, well shit, we might as well
get back
just
together.
get
and
back
I think
together.
That's what he did.
Yeah.
It was like, hey, why don't we just try to make this work again? Her Achilles heel may be, well, he just the same piece of shit that I was with before, so I'm not doing that again. Might be.
Could be.
But according to the tap-in, her issue is the other girl, because now she sees it the other way around. Mm-hmm. Because I think her issue is everything is still good over there. It's not like he's saying, hey, I don't want to be with her, let me come back home. It's, why don't we just try it again? And he's fine. Like, what you doing? Oh, me and my girlfriend, we going to the movies. Okay, well, I'm dropping the baby off. She's not like, well, damn, I thought y'all wasn't together. You just fucked me last night. It's an understanding that he is in a happy relationship. It's just that he has an attachment to her as well. And that's what's fucking her up. That's what's fucking her. I think if he said, hey, is she a bitch? I want to kick her ass every day. I don't want to be here. I'm packing my shit. I'm going to a hotel.
That's ridiculous.
I think she would say, okay, come home. But that's not what he's saying.
Yeah, but that's ridiculous. And that is what he's saying. Like,
how you gonna tell me this? I got the tap in.
I'm telling you that she's writing, so she don't know how she feels. So that's how I'm gonna tell you.
But you don't know how she
exactly.
Doesn't know how.
So you're reading from the perspective of that.
The girl.
And guess what? If he really felt that way 100% about her, then he would be getting with her, not trying to go the other way around. That's how I know. Like, I've been with women that you're fucking and you don't want to be with them.
You know what I'm saying? Like, your eye is somewhere else. Just because you fucking someone don't fucking mean you want to be there. And you need to wake up sometime. Women, wake the fuck up. You know what I'm saying? If you finding your man constantly going somewhere else, or in that scenario, that's not enough. He ain't happy. And she can't say that he is. Because where he want to be is there.
You want to be with her. So you're saying it's not her place to worry about his situation.
Exactly.
If she wants to be with him, she should tell him to come home.
Yeah. If that's what she want, it's either come home or not. And if you don't like that scenario, then guess what? Stop fucking them, and then that scenario won't come up no more.
You heard it here on Relations. We're here every single week, guys. Don't miss. Keep up by subscribing to our social media. You can find me on IG and Twitter at Kaynah Lassiter.
You can find your boy on both platforms, Twitter and IG, under 51 Spade. Hey, I want to thank everybody for joining Pod Beans. Like, subscribe to the channel on the YouTube. I want to thank everybody that's live and listening. Hey, you looking for the shirts, go to IG Alpha Male God Creations or www.alphamalegodcreations. And like I always say about this time,